Okay, so this is looking good so far. We've got all our content in there, but we're going to take a time out for just a minute to talk about something that is pretty important when we're dealing with writing software in general and when we're making websites and stuff, and that's called version control. So basically, as you build your website, you're going to have different versions of it. This is the very basic first version, but we're going to have more versions that come after this, and we need a way to kind of keep track of that. So we're going to use a version control system called Git, G-I-T, and basically what that allows us to do is at certain points in our code take snapshots, or what are called commits, and then at any point in time, if we decide we want to undo something a feature we just built, we can roll back to the previous commit or the previous kind of snapshot in our code. So it allows you to experiment pretty freely and make mistakes, because if you make a mistake you can just roll it back, and it also allows you to collaborate with other developers, as we'll see in a minute. But first we need to get Git installed. So if we go over to the terminal, we're going to run apt-get install git, and it's going to look for it and say, okay, here's all the stuff that we need to get installed, and it's going to set it up. So while it's doing that, jump back into Firefox, and we're going to go over to place github.com. So github.com, and we're going to set up an account in here, because this is going to help us see visually what's going on with our version control. So go ahead and pick a username. So I'll just do John Doe Web Developer, because we're building a resume for him. So then enter your email, and pick a password. Go ahead and click sign up. And so see, what we're going to do here is we're going to just choose the free plan, unlimited collaborators, unlimited public repositories. So we're just going to do that for now. If you want to upgrade later, you certainly can. There are benefits to having a paid account, but this works fine for what our needs are. So what we need to do now is go ahead and create a repository. So basically we need to tell GitHub, okay, we're starting a new project, and we're going to call this project resume. Okay, we can put in the description, this is my awesome resume. We're going to say yes, okay, it's public. So the benefit about this is, like I said, you're basically writing open source code, which other people can see the source code that you're writing. So for example, if you send me the link, I can look at your code and make suggestions as to what things you could improve, and I can even collaborate with you on your project. So that's a really cool thing that GitHub enables you to do. So what we're going to do is we're just going to have it be public, and then just go ahead and create it. So now, here we go. We have these instructions. So it's okay. Here's the quick setup. You've kind of done this kind of thing before, but we haven't. So we're going to need to read these instructions. We're going to need to create a new repository. So you can see here that we're going to have to use Git commands. So let's go back to the terminal and first of all make sure that we have Git working. So just type Git and hit enter. And here we go. It shows us all the possible commands we can do with Git, so we know that it's working. So we're just going to want to follow these instructions right here. So we're going to change. First of all, we need to change directory into our resume folder, which is on the desktop in the folder resume. Okay, and then we're going to run touch readme. That just creates a readme file, which you need for GitHub. And we're going to run git init. So init is short for initialize or initiate, and it basically sets up an empty Git repository in the directory you're in. So that's good. So now what you need to do before you commit is you need to tell it which files you want to commit. So if we run git status, we see, okay, all of these files are untracked. So to track a file and to include it in our commit or our snapshot, we need to run the command git add. Now you can add individual files. For example, if we want to add the README, we can add it, and then we run git status again, and we see, okay, the README is going to be committed now, but these are still untracked. But in this case, we want to track everything. So we just say git add and then dot, which means everything in the current folder. So we run that, we give it a quick check with git status, and it says, okay, everything's going to be committed. So now what we want to do is, all right, we need to actually make the commit. So we're going to run git commit, and as you can see here, we need to give it a message. So -m stands for message, and then we need to add a message to this commit. So we'll say first commit will be the very creative message we use for this. Okay, and here again, so it says please tell me who you are. So we need to set this stuff up. So git config -- global user.email, and for this to work with GitHub, it needs to be the same email you signed up for GitHub with. So in this case, we have John Doe webdeveloper@gmail.com. But again, use the same email that you signed up for GitHub with, and then hit enter for that. And then we're going to do git config -- global user.name. And in this case, will just be John Doe. Again, put your own name in here. Okay, so now we're going to try this again. So git commit and add a message. It says, okay, 3 files changed, and it looks good. So let's run git status. Okay, so nothing to commit because we haven't made any changes. Now, the last thing is, this is tracking it locally, but if we want to have it up on GitHub, we need to do these last 2 steps. So we need to do git remote add. So adding a remote is just a remote location that you can push your code to either have it as a backup or have it on GitHub, stuff like that. So origin is just our first remote that we're adding. We'll call the origin. And then you just put in the location on GitHub. So it gives it to you right here, https://github.com/johndoewebdeveloper/resume.git. So now that we do that, it added it successfully. So now we've made a commit, and now we just need to push it. So if we say git push -u origin master. So basically what this is saying is push the master branch, which we've only have one branch since we haven't created any other ones. Push the master branch to the origin, which we just set as GitHub. So push the code to GitHub, essentially. So we say OK, and it's going to ask us for our username, John Doe Web Developer, and it's going to ask us for our password. If you put in the right password, it would be very helpful. And then it's going to say compressing and writing, and it's going to tell you where it wrote it to. And it says, okay, branch master set up to track remote branch from origin. So that means now we can, when we say git push, we don't have to specify exactly what we're pushing because it will automatically do that for us. So then if you go back to your GitHub and you refresh this page, it's going to say, cool, here's all of our stuff. Here's all of our files. Here's everything that's in our directory, basically. And if you click on one commit up here, it will show you all of the commits that have been made. So for example, if we go into Sublime and we go in here and we add a comment. So in HTML, comments are done in this syntax. And we say, here's where the page starts. And we save that file. Now, when we run git status, it'll say, okay, index has been modified, but it's not staged for commit. So you can either run git add index or just git add dot to add everything in the folder. and now it's ready to be committed. So we run git commit and add a message, added comment. You want to make your commit messages as specific as you can so that it's obvious what code you've changed. So you commit it, and then we just do git push. And we have to username and password, and then it pushes it up to GitHub. So let's go take a look. So now we're back here at GitHub, and you can see that it added a new commit. So added comment. We click here on browse code. Now this is where Git comes in real handy because you can actually see the code that you've been working with, and it tells you which files were modified, the latest commit they were modified from. So let's go ahead, and if we click here on added comment, Git will actually show us, okay, this line is what you added from this commit. If you subtracted, if you deleted anything, what it will do is it'll highlight the line in red and put a little minus sign here. So this is what's really cool about Git, is you can actually see which files are getting changed at every certain time. So now your project is up on GitHub. So if you want to go ahead and send me the link to your repository, I'll go ahead and check it out and see how you guys are going on. So next time we're going to work on some styling and getting this looking like a real website.